Welcome to Grawlix Nights, the Grawlix Podcast live show. I'm Randy.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Jesse.
What's going on, everybody? First off, how are my levels? You guys, Jesse and Melanie, listen to each other and then compare that to me. I think that's the only way to get a good gauge because you guys
You're
are
a little
fine.
low compared to Melanie.
You're a little low compared to Jesse.
I figured. I went back and watched part of the video from last week. My volume was so low that it's unwatchable. It's weird. And through a little bit of a couple things, I've come to the deduction that it is 100% StreamYard. Whoever's hosting, their volume is lower because I've heard this confirmed on another show. And Melanie and I experienced it last night. We were messing around in StreamYard. We weren't streaming. But, and then I opened Discord. We were just experimenting with different, video things. We tried Google Duo.
Oh, wow. What? Wannabe Hangouts?
Wannabe Hangouts. And it wannabe Hangouts. It's not.
No.
Savannah said she did have a hard time hearing me last week. Yeah, right. If the podcast audio is better, fortunately, I was recording a backup copy, so I was able to boost my voice without killing Jesse and Melanie's voices. Real quick.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
Can you adjust your levels in StreamYard? Is that part of it?
How about now? Better?
A little better.
A little better?
But you also talked louder. You also like, how about now?
That's true.
You were bringing the thunder.
How about now? Okay.
Oh, that's better.
Okay. That's about as good as it's going to get. But anyway, Melanie and I had StreamYard open, and then I opened Discord and started a thing going in Discord, and she said my audio then got louder in StreamYard.
Yep.
So
weird.
I don't get it.
StreamYard, you are a hot mess.
a little bit, man. It was a quick turn. I did a quick turn on StreamYard. I was singing their praises until a few weeks ago. Then I'm like, they're dead. They're dead to me. They're junk.
I'm still pretty impressed with them, considering that I have a much diminished tech setup now, and it still manages to let me chime in.
Right. No, it's good. It's still decent. Man, I really wish they hadn't, it's cool. They add features if you want to pay $50+ a month. And I'm like, 25 is more than I want to pay. And I'll do that. But 50 a month? That's really when I turned on them. But the fact that they're great for guests and people connecting on pretty much any device. So, take the good, take the bad.
Take them both, and there you have.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're so
what a boring, inside baseball way to start the episode. Hey, what's going on, everybody? If you can't, what's our featured topic?
Levels.
We're just kicking
our
it.
Volume.
We're just kicking it. I have a few things to talk about. That's, of course, TV and movies. Savannah, what have you been watching? What fascinating documentaries have you been ignoring in the background while you play on your phone or whatever you do? I know what you do. I hear about it. Oh my God. That's right. She watched 2001: A Space Odyssey. And she says, I remember we were talking, was it just last week? She said she was going to. She says she has no idea what she experienced.
That's fair. I feel like that's fair. That's a fair assessment of that movie because there's just bits that are super memorable. And then the rest of it's I don't remember.
Right.
But it's so long.
Yeah, it's very long. I mean, the weird part. I mean, it's a weird movie in general, but yeah, the weird parts just extend.
It's like a slow-paced movie altogether, but after a certain point, it's just you're looking at visuals,
Yeah.
like weird, literally abstract visuals. So that is definitely sticks out. Plus, at least for me, if I remember correctly, how'd you only watch half of North by Northwest? That's
Cary
not my favorite
Grant
Hitchcock,
movies.
but
Wow.
it's awesome. Yeah, you
That
really
might-
are hitting that.
Sorry, that might have been my fault because I showed up while she was watching that, and then we shut it off. So
Melanie, how
What?
dare you?
I'm
How
sorry.
dare you?
Sorry.
That's I was about to say it. That's the Hitchcock. Come on.
Well, it's good that she watched 2001: A Space Odyssey though, because now you know what we're talking about when we say space baby. It's because of that.
Oh, Good Omens is a good call, though.
Yeah, we
Randy,
didn't.
have you seen any of that?
I haven't.
It's good.
Yeah,
Tenet,
yeah. It's
yeah.
it's Neil Gaiman wrote the book. It's great. So you know it's good.
I mean, David Tennant had me at hello.
Yeah, it's fun stuff.
Did Tenet have you at hello?
Hello, Z.
Oh, that's right. Savannah says she's seen all of Good Omens. So okay, Savannah, I'm assuming you're still going through your iconic, watching iconic movies that you've never seen up to this, Wow. Let me start over. Savannah, I'm assuming you're still going through your the list of iconic movies or whatever that you've never seen. What's coming up? What's next? If it's super interesting, we might have to have you come on the show after you watch it.
Yeah,
If you want.
for the first
okay.
half hour or so.
Right.
I was going to ask you guys because I know that y'all went to some movies that
Mhm.
were in a parking lot
Yes.
or not. I mean, it was a drive-through.
Not even really a parking lot, a parking field.
Yeah.
I sent before we went. I sent Melanie some pictures. She's like, "Is it in a field?" And I was like, "I mean, we're in Nebraska.
Right.
Everything kind of is, but
I mean,
There's a fence around it to keep the field out.
it wouldn't. I didn't necessarily expect it all to be paved, but I would have thought at least there would be gravel. Not just dirt.
right, yeah. It's there's grass, of course, and then the the drive-in. We're talking about the drive-in. The drive-in little lanes and stuff. It's dirt. I believe the weekend before last they were rained out, and I can see why because I bet that place gets so muddy.
Yeah,
I can't imagine they've got to gravel it up at some point.
yeah. Because
I can't imagine they won't.
my shoes were all caked when we left. So, but still, it's
Savannah?
driving.
I do want to talk more about the drive-in too, but Savannah needs a suggestion or two for this weekend of iconic movies, because she said this weekend she'll finish North by Northwest, and then she'll do To Kill a Mockingbird.
Well, I did hear that the super duper extended cut of Super Mario Brothers has hit the internet, and it's free. Bob Hoskins, baby. John
Are you
Leguizamo.
Trash.
Is that for real?
That's for real. Have you not heard this news?
No.
Yeah,
I'm amazed.
no,
I want.
Yeah.
If I did,
like-
that would have been our feature topic.
There's rival plumbers. There's whole extra parts that were cut.
Wow,
Yeah, it's like the Snyder cut of Super Mario Brothers.
that's
I
crazy.
guess.
It's the weirdo couple that directed that film cut, or maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's just the assembly cut. Or man, I'm actually super excited to just find that.
How excited are you?
Super excited. Yep.
Do you know? Did Super Mario Brothers come out before or after Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
After.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure it was after.
I'm just wondering because I know what's his name, the guy that plays Mario. I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah, Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, he hallucinated when he was made Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I'm wondering if going from that and then into this, he's having some weird kind of flashbacks when they made it or something. I don't know.
First off, I seen both of those movies in the theater when they came out. Um,
Sorry.
I did, and yeah, Savannah says Who Framed Roger Rabbit was one of her faves when she was a kid.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
Oh, we summoned him. Somebody mentioned Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and suddenly here comes Paul.
That is an amazing bit of timing there.
Yeah.
It really is. It's. I'll go ahead and save you the hassle of having to say it. Jessica Rabbit. Ooh. How about that? Because I know that's Paul's thing. Our regulars are like, cool, Paul. I've been here. Mr. Johnny Come Lately. So,
Better late
yeah.
than never.
Melanie and I went to the drive-in this last weekend, which is the first time in many, many years that I've gone to a drive-in.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Quasar Drive-In, which is located almost exactly. It's not quite in between the triangulation that is Valley, Arlington, and Fremont, but it's between those three towns in Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. It is a little bit more like minimalistic than I was expecting. It's nice, but like old school drive-ins when they were the hot thing.
Mm-hmm.
Way to make you sound Paul says, way to make me sound creepy, Randy. Oh, I don't need to do that. You do that all on your own. I'm just referencing something I've seen you comment on so many times. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah, just grab a side. So
She is. That's her whole thing.
yeah.
She's just drawn that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
About the drive-in though, I think the people that opened this drive-in didn't do it like the older drive-ins in their heyday for profit necessarily. It's not like a business move. I think they were just like, I love drive-ins. I miss the drive-ins because they're all the other ones left years ago. And they wanted to have a drive-in. I think it's more that. So I understand that they don't have a whole bunch of money to pour into it because it's not, necessarily what they're doing for their income. Or maybe they'll make some money off of it, but I think it's more about just having a drive-in there.
Well, and I don't imagine they're like even now the most profitable of businesses. So I get that. But I was just thinking like back in the day, some of the large drive-ins when they were still a viable business to have multiples around the country, like all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have like a little playground area.
Yeah.
In front of below the screen where kids could play during,
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't anything like that. It's a bit more like standard. I do have a complaint though.
Mm-hmm.
The food is not amazing, and it's not because the food itself was necessarily bad. All I tried, to be fair though, all I tried was popcorn and the French fries. But here's the thing: it's almost like a cafeteria thing, and I get it. Maybe this is just by design, or maybe it's because of COVID and all that. But the food is ready, prepared, and you can just go grab it and then like scoot over to the cash register and pay for it. So like the popcorn, the French fries, and those are probably two of the quickest to go funky foods I could have grabbed. But they have hamburgers and hot dogs. It's all like there and sitting out ready, and who knows how long it's been there.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't super thrilled about that.
Yeah.
The screen looked great though. I thought the picture was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. I have a complaint though. They started way too early, in my opinion. You got to wait till it's dark out all the way. If the sun's still setting, wait a little bit.
Yeah, we got there a little late, but it was still light out. And the first movie had already started, which is the one we hadn't seen before.
Yeah. The one I really wanted to see.
Jesse is using a different camera, Paul. I think last week you switched over to it's a different laptop or whatever
Yep.
setup. So
I'm in between
camera.
computers, so I'm on an old machine.
just on a slightly different angle. But we saw.
Sorry, I was going to say it makes his head look bigger.
I don't need that either.
We saw A Quiet Place Part 2
Mm-hmm.
and the original Friday the 13th, which meant we had to watch A Quiet Place this week because we'd never seen it somehow still.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we watched that Friday night, and then we went to the drive-in Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, it was a good experience. The most negative aspects of it were just that it was cold, and that's not, that's just the time of year.
Mm-hmm.
It got pretty cold and was still like damp. It felt damp out, and that's not the most fun. Today here in Nebraska, it's actually really nice. Like, I bet this coming weekend, I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like, would probably be really nice. And they are showing Monster Squad and A Quiet Place Part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should almost go again because who doesn't love Monster Squad? It's great. And then we could see the beginning of A Quiet Place too.
That's a good point.
Yeah. For me, the worst part of the drive-in was that Randy, for a little bit, lost his vape. And so I was distracted half of the second movie because we were trying to find it.
I would have felt bad if it wasn't Friday the 13th, which we've not only have we each seen multiple times, me and you seen it in a movie theater a couple years ago. So I'd have felt worse. I couldn't find it. And listen, if you watch the stream, Randy, he doesn't go without his vape.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was looking for it the whole time. I had left it outside on the ground where our chairs were before we moved into the car. So, I'm sorry. No,
It's okay.
I'm sorry for being the worst part of your driving experience. It was pretty unpleasant. I was very annoyed because I was like, and then I sat there and I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'm like, man, that thing's expensive. I don't want to lose it. No, I gotta find it.
Yeah, and he kept doing it, like shuffling through, looking, and then no, it's okay, I don't need it. And then he'd start doing it again, like 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, just go outside and find it.
Friday the 13th looked great also on it. Like, it was I'm assuming it's probably just a digital thing. It's not that bad of a drive. Paul says, I want to go to the drive-in, but that's a drive, man. Wait, are you in Omaha? He's in Omaha-ish, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that bad. Last time we went to the drive-in, there's a drive-in also in Nebraska that's been around for years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like 2-hour drive.
It's more than that. The one out by Norfolk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a little more than that. It's far. I almost wanted to spend the night because by the time we got, leaving there after the movies get done at like 1 or maybe or 2, and then driving home, we didn't get home till like almost 5 o'clock in the morning. It was ridiculous,
right.
But it was a drive-in, so you do what you got to do.
That was a drive.
But when you lived out in the country and it was at least 45 minutes to an hour to get anywhere, you get used to that kind of drive, and you're like, that's nothing.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess so.
Savannah wants to experience getting drunk at the drive-in again.
Yeah.
They don't sell alcohol at this one, and in fact, I don't think they're like no drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Their sign is pretty cheeky though. I kind of appreciated it. Their rules sign, because it's no drugs and alcohol. If we have to be sober, you do too, or something like that. So I appreciated that. What else? A Quiet Place. We never talked about. Did you guys like that movie? Yes.
I really wanted to see it. I don't know why we never did. And like we watched Hush and there was some other movie, and both of those I was like, oh, is this that movie? And neither one of them was, so I was a little disappointed. But yeah, no, I thought it was really good. The first one was really good. The second one was also good in completely different ways, though, I think. This one seemed more like a I don't know, action-packed type thing. The first one was a lot more like tension and emotion building, you know.
Yeah. Jesse, have you ever seen the first one
not.
at least?
Nope.
Really?
I've only seen Bird Box.
Why? It's so weird. Bird Box is not is definitely a lesser movie.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Anna says, I haven't seen A Quiet Place, but the documentary I watched this week was on Mark Twain. That's perfect.
I
Thank
love
you.
it.
I'm a little surprised that like, nobody else has seen it. So it. The tomato rating is very high. I remember it came out and everybody talked about it. In fact, I knew spoilers because everybody talked about that movie for a long time.
I didn't know the spoilers, so I was surprised.
Paul's got himself a dad joke, like a literal dad joke. I haven't seen A Quiet Place since my kids were born. Yep. So it's good.
Mhm.
It's no, I agree with Melanie. The first one has a tension,
Mhm.
and it's also kind of a downer, and you'll get that real fast.
Yeah.
There's like a dread throughout the whole first one
Mhm.
that you're like, oh no, like there's a certain way. If you start your movie a certain way, the audience learns real quick. It's like anyone can die
Yeah.
at any moment.
Mhm.
It's
Because they
the
don't
Game of
carry
Thrones
around birds
effect.
in a box.
They don't. There's no birds in a box.
No,
They really should learn from Sandra Bullock.
they're a little stupid actually. Now that I think about it,
And-
a couple times.
And not, the second one I also enjoyed. I'm gonna have to rewatch it. Like Melanie mentioned, we missed some stuff at the beginning, and then I went to the concession stand, which is quite a walk. It felt like quite a walk in the dark, and missed a big chunk of what ultimately led up to the final climax of the movie. I got back and I'm like, "What's happening?" Everyone's in different locations and crazy stuff's happening.
It
But-
very fast paced. The second one was.
And I will say they're both very short movies too.
Mhm.
I will say, yeah, the second one lacked. Not that like crazy stuff can't happen to anyone at any time, but like I didn't have that worry or that. It lacked a certain weight that I think the first one had, and I'm not sure why.
Mhm.
But yeah, I enjoyed them both. There's some dumb plot holes.
Yeah.
The movies are, I think, entertainment if you're along for the ride, not like a superhero action movie ride, but you know, a good like horror thriller tension ride. If you're along for the ride while you're watching it, it's easy to overlook the little like dumb things and plot holes. Afterwards, though, you start thinking about it, and there's a lot of things where it's like that doesn't make any sense, or why would you do that?
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it is, in the first one, at some point, there's somewhere it's like there's I don't know, it's written down or something, or it's like go underground because they hear sound is the thing.
Oh,
The
you
monsters
walk
hear
without
sound.
rhythm.
So go underground. Yes,
Yeah.
Then the
is-
tremors will get you.
which seemed like good advice.
Mhm.
No one does that.
Yeah,
in
no
these
one does
movies.
that.
No one lives underground.
No.
Nobody tries to dig under the. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe
Well-
like they start digging and it's too loud. But
Oh yeah, I suppose maybe. But there's got to be bunkers around. You know, people have bunkers. Go find some crazy peoples and go in their bunker. If they're didn't make it to the bunker themselves, I guess. But they did. They didn't even really go in the ground, but they went in the basement. But they like cover the basement with a mattress. I'm sorry, that's a little bit of a spoiler, but what is a mattress gonna do against a monster that can, a big scary monster? I don't think a mattress is gonna stop them. Why would you be like, okay, we're safe now, huh? Nah, I don't know. Anyway, sorry, that's my biggest gripe about both the movies is that one part.
Paul asked, "Did you get a hickey from Kinnicky while at the drive-in?" I cannot think of what that specific reference is to.
Grease, baby.
Oh, God,
Come on.
of course it is. Disgusting.
You're one of
Paul.
those. You're one of those people that hates musicals.
One of those people. What do you mean? No, I'm not particularly fond of them, but some of them more so than others, uh, including Grease, because uh, ladies, I know this is going to be a sexist remark. Women love Grease. My sisters and my mom watched Grease so many times. They loved it, and I did not. I was like, oh, God, Grease again.
I know the songs from Grease and Grease 2 by heart. So
Paul says Jason lives underground in the remake. Shrug. That's a weird connection, but I would like to see Jason existing in a Quiet Place world. He doesn't talk.
I was gonna say he's really quiet. Yeah, he'd probably be fine. He moves silently.
Friday the 13th was interesting watching the drive-in. It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, real quick, I want to pull up some pictures, which I'm sure at this point, if we still have regular podcast audio listeners, they're just like, oh, great. Thanks. Pull up the pictures. Don't
Yeah.
edit this down for podcast audio, so we got to hear you look at pictures. Oh, wait. Those are my sister's pictures, not mine. I want to go to my pictures. Okay. Screen share. Here's the in between the movies when it was playing a little hot dog go to concession stand animation when we're still sitting outside.
Mm-hmm.
Very classic.
Yep.
Right to the point. There's a Friday the 13th strong arm Pamela. Strong arm Pamela getting with her missing her head.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers, Friday the 13th, not from 1980.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going straight spoilers. Here's the end. Oh, I didn't put the Jason.
That's also.
Oh,
Yeah. Sorry.
I know I have a couple other pictures. I thought I got a good picture of the close up of little boy Jason coming out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
Yeah. That was probably the funnest part right there. I was like, let's take or
when we decided to start taking pictures of the movie at the end.
Yeah.
Well, part of it was like we both knew like what was coming up, so yeah, I'd wait for the right. We were both waiting for the Pamela Voorhees to get her head lopped off to take snap pictures, and then we were both waiting for little Jason to jump out of the water at the end to snap pictures. So yeah, our the best part of going to the drive-in was taking pictures of the movie. Was a form of copyright infringement.
Yeah. Well.
Which, if you're listening to the audio, you can't prove we did that.
Right.
That's true.
It's not really copyright infringement. I just put it on my personal Facebook.
Yeah.
Right.
The end of the movie, so now people won't go watch it. Copyright infringement. What else? There was something else I wanted to mention, but I can't remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
No matter. I haven't really been watching like anything. Jesse, what have you been up to? You been watching anything? What have you been doing?
Well, you guys watched The Quiet Place or A Quiet Place. I watch The Good Place. That's we've basically been rewatching The Good Place, and it's super fun. It's funny. It's a quick watch. It's Kristen Bell. It's got Ted Danson in it, and it's about heaven. It's about the good place. There's the good place. There's the bad place, and basically the crux of the first season is that Kristen Bell's character shows up in the good place at the very beginning of the show, but she knows she doesn't belong there. Like a mistake has been made, and wackiness ensues because she's trying to like hide the fact that she's not supposed to be in the good place. And yeah. And there's all sorts of just crazy, fun pop culture stuff. It's really fun, dumb television, but it's a pretty good show. It's pretty smart, and it's irreverent. It's funny. It's heartwarming. I don't know. And it's a fast watch. Like they're 30 30-minute episodes. So without commercials on Netflix, they're like 20-minute episodes. So quick, easy, digestible chunks of television goodness. The other thing, I've been doing more Big Finish because we've been doing a lot of like yard work kind of stuff. So I listened to the Time War 4, which is an Eighth Doctor thing. So it's the Time War is going for a while before he regenerates into the War Doctor. And there's a fun. The reason I bring this one up is that it's fun in the context of like what Big Finish has done in the past, and then this is a thing that was invented essentially by Russell T Davies, right? And now Big Finish has the opportunity to expand it, and they've expanded it in very Eighth Doctor Big Finish ways. Like one thing that they've done with the Eighth Doctor is something that we were really hoping we'd get with the 12th Doctor, and that is a reconnection with Susan. Well, in the Big Finish stories, the Eighth Doctor reconnects with Susan and his, spoilers, great grandson. So he connects with not only Susan, but we get to see more of that
unknown family line. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and so they're pulling that into the Time War, and that's pretty fun. I thought, and I was surprised because a lot of the Time War stuff has tied pretty directly into what they've been doing with the television series, and this was a fun way that they've tied it back to stuff that they've done before, and I was like, fun. I'm having my cake and I'm eating it.
Cool. Yeah, because the Time War as a concept is amazing, but if only watching the shows, it's a little like they don't ever explore it. Like we only really get to visit it in the is it the time of the day of what was the 50th special? Yeah,
the Day of the Doctor, because the Night of the Doctor is the little mini webisode where 8 regenerates into John Hurt.
So, which is still cool. It's still cool that that they gave him that.
Right.
But yeah, it's like there's so many potentially awesome concepts that were not explored that could have been. And so I'm glad Big Finish is kind of at least doing different things with it. Yeah, I've been jonesing for some Doctor real bad. I got on a kick of watching, in particular, there's one YouTube channel that covers Doctor Who a lot, but a couple YouTube channels just talking about various Doctor Who things, And I watched some lame channels like All the Classic Companions, Best to Worst, or Worst to Best, or something like that. And it's just like, it was fine. Some of the low ones, I was like, man, I don't know. Tegan is always way up there. I don't get it. People
love Tegan for some reason.
Leela's
they'll be mean to Tegan. Like, freaking Tegan.
Yeah, people do like her though. I don't like, fans. I don't get it. I think it's because she doesn't want to be there is maybe a part of the appeal. I guess it's an interesting concept compared to some companions, but
where did K9 rate?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. What?
He intentionally shouted out K9 and said that K9 is not in the list, not including K9.
But Mickey was the robot dog.
So anyway, watching that. And Leela was pretty high, but not as high as she needs to be. Yeah. Of course, Sarah Jane. This might have been like a Looper or something. Looper YouTube channel. I don't know.
Right.
Sarah Jane always gets number one.
I don't know why she's not that all that.
She's all right. I mean, I think because she bridges two of the most popular Doctors of the classic era.
Right. And she got her own show later, and then
I can't remember
past. So I think it's kind of a respect thing.
I can't remember his name right now, but the dude in the kilt, I liked him a lot too.
Oh, Jamie McCrimmon, yeah.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I liked a lot of the second Doctor's companions, especially once they got to like Jamie.
Jamie and Leela. They're
Yep,
the best.
they are.
Paul, yes, I wanted to. Paul said he watched the Human Centipede trilogy, which
Oh,
I've only seen the first one. I've seen
I don't
bits
know
of the
why you'd
second
need to
one,
go on.
and I've heard about the third one. He said upon rewatch, one, again, this is talking about Human Centipede movies. One is an artsy Frankenstein-esque story. Two is a good horror film, and three is just a joke. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them, but I thought 3 was supposed to be like a kind of not Saw, but like like torture porn or something like that.
I feel like they kind of all are.
Yeah, yeah, I suppose so. I mean, just the concept itself is really.
Um. So yes, I need to revisit some. Maybe I need to check out some Big Finish Doctor Who. Instead of like having YouTube going off on the side when I'm playing games or something, I need to put on some Big Finish. I just never think of it.
I would love to get your take on what they did with the third Doctor, because they've got a really talented voice. They've got two really talented voice actors on that series. One recasting the third Doctor, and then one recasting the Brig. And the guy who does the Brig is incredible. Like he does a pretty compelling version of Delgado's Master. He does a compelling version of the third Doctor, actually. But Tim Cherloy has been doing it for a while, and he's pretty good too. Like he's kind of made it his own.
Yeah.
There's so much. Yeah, I'll have you make me just a short list. Be like, okay, you pick. What do I listen to now? Because there's so much, and I have some of it. Some of it's online, like on Spotify. I know I've listened to some stuff on there before. So, like, I don't know where to start. There's so much. I mean, I've listened to some in the past. We've talked about it on the show.
I would recommend John Hurt too, because we
right.
got so little of him, and they flesh him out. If I have one criticism of Big Finish, it's that they are releasing now a young War Master box set. And I don't know how far they're going to go with that, but like, how they kind of tried to make him look young at the end of
you're right.
Night of the Doctor.
Yeah.
So they want to do like a young War Master, which would have been fine if we would have had John Hurt. But like, I'm okay with them recasting doctors and characters that have been long dead. But John Hurt just passed 5 years ago?
Yeah, it's weird to have somebody
less than 5 years ago.
Right. Already
seems a little soon.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe he would be fine with it too. Maybe he was fine with it. Like, I know he was sick when he was doing the War Doctor stuff. So maybe he already said, "Hey, keep this going. You've got my blessing." But it just feels icky. Like it's the one Time War thing I'm not ready to buy.
Yeah. I wonder, where do they get their stories and stuff? Do they like have writers that work for them, or do they like go and find people that are into Doctor Who and write about it and just
a little bit of all the above. Pretty much everything that you said. They have their own writers, but they do, like, they've even brought in veteran Doctor Who writers from the past. Like, I think I reviewed for the site. If you guys want to check out all my Big Finish reviews, most of them are there. And one of them was from the E-Space trilogy. One of those writers has come back and done a lot of stuff for Big Finish lately. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
And isn't Short Trips, maybe I'm thinking wrong. I feel like Short Trips is also like the submission stories they'll get and stuff.
Yes, I believe so.
Sometimes.
And they also have the Paul Spragg Memorial Writing Contest, I believe it is. And so, once a year they will take submissions from people too.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, fan fiction I would think would be interesting because, if you're a fan, you know a lot of the lore and probably been thinking about it a lot. But I would imagine it's also not necessarily like the most eloquent. But anyway, I was just wondering how they did it, how they, got that all set up. But yeah.
Big Finish is interesting in terms of canon, and again, with Doctor Who, it's ridiculous. Even if you're just basing it on the show, it doesn't pay attention to its own canon.
Right.
Like within the first 10 years of the classic series going, there were writers that were contradicting their own stories. So, but Big Finish is interesting because it's it's like spin-off stuff. The show doesn't have to recognize any of that as canon. Sometimes it will, sometimes it will not.
Mm-hmm.
But Big Finish feels, I guess I can't think of too many other show things that have like a Big Finish attached, where it's like doing its own thing and has as much, if not almost more, of an extensive history, more of extensive lore to it, that feels as official without being official in terms of canon.
Yeah, they need to hint at it more during the show. Give nods to it when they random things that the Doctor talks about. Oh, once I went somewhere and did this or did that. I think that would be fun.
I can't remember what. I don't remember what the story was, but I believe it's the Eighth Doctor now has more stories than any other Doctor because of Big Finish.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And
That's
he's
amazing.
only had a movie.
Yeah,
right?
He had one TV movie, like the shortest amount of screen time of any of the Doctors. Now has more stories, more adventures.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate, and it makes sense because that's how they started. They started with the Eighth Doctor, and they kept going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's maybe part of what gives it that in a way, I almost respect Big Finish's canon more, but I think that's part of what makes it feel as valid, even though it's not quite official, as the show, or in addition to the show, because they filled huge gaps, and they've made a point to get, when they can, they'll get they've got all the Doctors that are alive are doing Big Finish or have done Big Finish.
Right. With the exception of Matt Smith hasn't signed on yet. Peter Capaldi hasn't. But
there's it's an interesting, I guess, as Matt Smith eventually he will, and Capaldi and Whittaker in time, to see what that time period is. Mm-hmm. Less so with Tennant versus somebody like Nine, but Nine was also, one where it's he's never coming back.
Right.
Yeah. But
same with 4. Nobody thought 4 was coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And he loves it. So,
mm-hmm.
they get the actual Doctors. It gives it an area of legitimacy.
It might have been the 4th Doctor. Actually, I don't know if that's true. He's been banging them out, though. Mm-hmm. It might be that he's done more for Big Finish than he actually did in his run. And his run was long. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Now I'm really curious.
Yeah, it's great.
That'd be super interesting because he's 4. He's the longest. He's had the longest run on the TV show.
Yeah. If anybody screwed it up, it would probably be Matt Smith, because he didn't know anything about Doctor Who, did he? When he became the Doctor?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he just liked Patrick Troughton because he had a bow tie.
Yeah.
Right. I think he probably watched a selection of some of the all the previous Doctors. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he's seen some before.
Yeah.
And it's okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of that.
Right.
And that's fine. Yeah, as a fan, that's kind of disappointing, as opposed to somebody like Capaldi, who just was a documented nerd about Doctor Who.
The president of the fan club.
Right. That's super cool to get an actor in there that's like that. But I guess it really doesn't matter if they're, a good actor or they bring something interesting to it.
Yeah.
And Matt Smith is very unique. he brought something interesting to the character.
I actually miss him. I would love to hear something new from him now.
There
was a minute there where I was I'm good for a while.
Yeah, I'm okay without Matt Smith. I like Tennant though. So, but Good Omens.
There's some good David Tennant stuff coming out right now. They've got they just released a 10th Doctor and River Song box set, so they're exploring that some more.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's there's so much that they supposedly did that we know nothing about.
Right.
So that makes sense. Although I think River Song is the worst thing they ever did, and they should just cut her out of it completely. But whatever, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with you, but I also have listened to far more of those box sets than I thought I would, and they're really good. They're surprisingly good because it's Big Finish.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is a total aside and a thing that I debated. Like, I think I come across this not long ago, but I haven't heard much more on it, so maybe I shouldn't even mention it. But John Burrowman, I was just thinking of like, is that his name, John Burrowman?
Yeah.
Uh,
Captain Jack.
Captain Jack, because I was thinking about Big Finish, and they even do Torchwood. Like everybody's come back for
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't said anything about them not planning to work with him or anything, have they? Because I heard there was some stuff where I was like, is Captain Jack gonna get canceled? What did he do? What did he do?
Haven't heard anything.
Okay, so it's a little more under the radar then.
Yeah, I did. I'm not aware of this.
And I don't want to sound like, because anytime there's like somebody got canceled, and then you're like,
Well, if anyone's going to get canceled, it's probably Barrowman.
that's okay. So here's my thing, and yeah. So I read about it, and I was like, what did he do? And I looked into it, and just I'm not saying what he did was right, but various accounts of him exposing himself on sets and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Paul's got it. He exposes him. He is known to, and I read that, and I was
doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I was like, well, of course,
okay.
I'm not saying that's like a proper thing you should be doing at any workplace, but yeah, of course he did. I would just assume that's the kind of dude he is.
Yeah,
that is because that's the kind of dude he is. He doesn't seem like that's something he's hidden. He's that kind of person, and again, being around that, yes, that's awkward, and it is inappropriate and not right to be exposing yourself to people. But not surprised at all. So I was kind of like, well, is that news?
As I say, if he would have been canceled for that, he would have been canceled for that a long time ago.
And he's not the only one that does stuff like that. Like, I know David Duchovny, there's been talk about him doing that in shows and movies.
Right.
And also, who's that guy that he played Guardian of the Galaxy guy? What's his name? Chris something.
Pratt?
Yes.
Chris Pratt.
He also did naked on set a couple times. So, certain types of people enjoy doing that. And yeah, like you said, it might be inappropriate, but I don't think it's necessarily something to fire somebody over, as long as they're doing it in they're just being funny. I don't know. Rather than trying to actually,
assault
them. Yeah. They're not getting off on it. They're just being like, ha, and running away like a streaker or something,
Yeah, because it's
what would sounds more exhibitionist than, I don't know, like where does sexual harassment like jump in here?
Yeah.
Well, like Louis C.K. got in trouble for essentially, from what I recall, because I don't usually look that far into these things, because I'm like, okay, well that sucks, right. Don't be a dirtbag, and then I move on with my life because it's not my business. Louis C.K. would expose himself, but also then stand there and touch himself.
Yeah,
that's people.
See, that's different.
That feels very much like, I don't know how or where you can draw a line between this is sexual assault and this is not, but that definitely steps well into it. Like when you're,
I mean, it's indecent exposure across the board, but then it's
right.
Like there's indecent and then there's indecent.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I read it and I was like, oh man, that if it was something egregious, I would have thought twice, but I was just like, don't cancel him for that, because it's John Burrowman. He's so not just
That's
flamboyant,
half the
but
reason people want to
flamboyant
see him at cons.
and over the top and
Yeah.
outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
That I was like, that's completely not a surprise. I would assume that's the kind of person he is.
Right.
Right.
But there's also something to be said was like, well, that's not necessarily wanted on a workplace.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So like you shouldn't tolerate that. So I get that, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's become of it, if anything. I haven't heard anyone else talking about it, so I don't know. I mean, you can't see him flashing on audio, right? So he can still do big.
Right. Oh man.
And we're not the type to like jump on and defend people who are getting canceled unless it just seems kind of like unjustified. Most people, it's like, okay, either I don't know enough about it, I don't care enough about it, or yeah, that guy sucks.
Yeah.
Or it's like James Gunn, where it's like, well, yeah, dude, he used to like say horrible jokes, and it's just tweets. Or somebody like this, where it's like, well, yeah, I don't feel like he's ever hidden that he's the type of dude that would just flash a person at work.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, and there have been people that have been canceled for doing or saying things that I'm like, yeah, that's not appropriate and kind of messed up. But personally, I probably wouldn't have like fired them or anything. Even though I can acknowledge that that's not a good thing to do, and they're probably crap people. But it doesn't mean they can't act, or whatever. So there's that, I guess.
Paul says he's apologized, and for the most part, he's good.
Yeah.
Plus, he's getting older. Like, he can't keep that up forever, so maybe he'll stop it now. Because I feel like if you're an old man doing it, it gets different.
Yeah.
It gets different. It just seems different. Unless you're really old, then people are like, "Oh, he's losing. Oh, no, it's fine. He's just He's just lost his mind." I want to see him in Doctor Who. Okay, come on.
Yeah.
We can move on from this.
I have an unrelated story that I wanted to share that I heard just yesterday.
Is it
What?
something good for Grawlix?
I don't know. It's just short.
Okay.
Okay. The guy Patrick Stewart, right? Isn't that the guy that plays Magneto?
Yeah.
Or not Magneto.
No.
Xavier.
Professor X. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I meant. They were both on the show. There was a show with them on there. Apparently, he didn't know that he wasn't circumcised. How do you go into like retirement age and not know that you're not circumcised? That seems really weird to me. And I just wanted to share that because that's weird.
Wait, he didn't know till he was like an old man?
He thought he was circumcised. Like his mom told him he was, so he thought he was. And then when he was an adult, after he had grandchildren and stuff, his wife was like, "You're not circumcised," and he's like, "Yeah, I am." So when he went to the doctor the next time, he said, "Am I circumcised?" And he's like, "No, you're not circumcised." And he's like, "So I guess I'm not." How? I mean, he has freaking grandkids, man. Come on. But yeah, that's what he says.
Huh.
Yeah.
Maybe it grew back. Yeah, that
That wasn't his mutant power, though. That's not
true.
canon.
Well, I don't know what it will be exactly, but I'm going to derive the episode title from that story. Okay.
Between Barrowman and Patrick Stewart, man.
Well, at least most likely then Patrick Stewart wasn't flashing people his Johnson all the time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, somebody might have mentioned it.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a good story, Melanie. I'm always, when you're like, can I unrelated story? It makes me nervous because sometimes it's like that, which is a good story, and sometimes it's like about your, second cousin, and some totally unrelated thing that has nothing to do with anything. So that's why I was hesitant.
No, yeah, but we were talking about junk, so
that's what we do here at Grawlix.
They work. Yep.
Real quick, or not real quick. What is we did watch a couple trailers.
Hmm.
I'm trying to. My notes always disappear when I go to that. Okay. I got it. I don't even remember. Oh, I know I didn't put them in there. What were they? Oh, there was a horror movie. Neill Blomkamp. Demonic?
Yes.
Was that? It was simply called Demonic? Yeah, a Neill Blomkamp horror movie, which intrigued me. Because he's like very, at least for the most part, very sci-fi guy. Maybe that just stems from him liking to do visual effects stuff. And then I started the trailer and I was like, oh, no, he's still sci-fi guy. I don't know what's going on in that trailer. It's so weird because it's like sci-fi guy virtual reality maybe thing, but also demon something. Yeah. There's like demon lady, but also technology. And it looked weird.
Definitely need a movie from him now. like that's kind of what we need now.
Right. What was the last thing he's put out? He was tied to.
Was it District 9? Wasn't the last thing, or
no?
In between?
He did.
I mean,
he
District
did a couple.
9's been out for a long time, but I don't know.
Yeah.
No, since that he did that one with Matt Damon, which was set in a world similar to District 9. I can't remember the name of it, but it's where.
Oh, is that Valeria?
No. Yes. No. Yes, but no. It's something like that. Hold on, let me look it up.
It's good, though.
It was okay. Elysium.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Elysium, and also Chappie.
Yeah.
Chappie, right.
And then he was also tied for a bit to. There was supposed to be a sequel to RoboCop that was a direct sequel to the original RoboCop. He was tied to that for a long time, and that's not. Then he come off of that project. That's not happening. And then he's also has been tied to like a fifth Alien, like Alien 5 for a long time, which almost happened, but then got sidetracked by whatever that Alien movie that came out after.
I was to say, isn't that new Alien movie 5?
Alien Covenant.
I don't even know what number we're on anymore.
Yeah.
And Prometheus doesn't count.
Right.
Sort of.
Very convoluted series.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just wanted to mention, it popped in my head. Since we were talking about the director guy. From the very beginning of the show, we were talking about The Quiet Place. It's directed by John Krasinski, the guy from he was Jim in The Office, and I thought that was really interesting. But anyway.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's in it, but he directed both of them. He's not bad. They're pretty well directed, I think.
Yeah,
both those movies.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine. And he's done 2 now, and I think he kind of likes. I'm assuming he enjoys doing horror, thriller, horror with touches of horror action.
Mm-hmm.
Chappie should have been a movie about a golfer who lost his hand to a gator.
Happy Gilmore. It's all in the hips.
Okay, that's why I didn't catch that one. I was disliking Adam Sandler movies before it was cool.
Yeah.
But he's like one of the richest actors of ever. You know that?
Yeah,
that's
crazy. Because he puts out crap, pockets a bunch of the money, and goes on vacation with it.
Yeah, because he gets all his friends to come and act in his movies. He's like, "Come and act! I'll give you like $10." And they're like, "All right, cool." I mean, I'm sure it's more than that, but you know.
So back to what we were talking about. Neill Blomkamp. So, what'd you guys make of this trailer for Demonic? Looks really strange.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Looks compelling.
I'm interested, but concerned at the same time, because they've had a lot of those the movies where it's the evil that comes through the Wi-Fi or something. So if you watch this video, it's gonna kill you or something. and those are kind of played out. But it doesn't necessarily look like that. But I'm a little worried it's just going to be like in the virtual world, there's some demon. Well, then stay out of the virtual world, you know?
Yeah, technology. Okay, well, horror based around technology can be good, but horror where it's like technological horror meshed with supernatural horror is real weird. It's a weird thing to try to
Yeah.
do, and they don't usually work.
Yeah.
And then if you throw like a virtual reality type situation, it just makes me think they're not necessarily doing video games, but it makes me think video games. And video games and horror in a movie form, it never goes well. It's just what is it? There were a couple movies in the early 2000s, maybe like low budget movies about like video games that kill you, and it's just like
Johnny Mnemonic, that kind of thing. Well,
right.
That's not even video games, but yeah.
Lawnmower Man pops in my head, but I don't know if they actually play games in that, but they're in some crappy virtual reality.
Yeah,
and
they start with games.
Yeah.
What was the other trailer? And then, oh yeah, Ding Dong. This is America, MFer. America, the Motion Picture, which is a Netflix animated movie, I would assume by the title, although it would almost be better if it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah. I
Maybe
mean,
it's a backdoor pilot. That'd be fun.
Right. So it's obviously, it's basically like the story of our founding fathers. Who was it? Was it Washington? Was he Washington, the one
It was
guy?
George
Yeah.
Washington.
Yeah.
Except it's like superhero action comedy movie thing.
It totally seemed like Venture Brothers to me. It's like Venture Brothers in the 1700s.
It also had Tick vibes,
Right.
Yeah.
There's a very RoboCop looking character there. They reference a car, and somebody's like, "What the f is a car?" So it's going to be all over the place. For me, the trailer started super strong. I liked the beginning, and then as it went on, I'm like, okay.
Right. It starts to
premise
feel a little dumber as you go on.
Right. Which is when I first seen it, I was like, it's going to be dumb. And then the trailer is a little mix of like, they look pretty dumb, but also they look like some legitimately funny stuff. So something like that, a premise like that, it's hard to tell because it's like that general idea, a short, maybe even a skit, maybe just a skit, perfect. To actually take that idea and run with a full-length movie is hard to pull off. And it makes me think of like maybe, what is it, the puppet movie, World Police, Team America, World Police. I don't know how that sustains a full movie, but the South Park guys made it work, so hopefully it's good. But
recently they've had a lot of, well, I guess not that recently, but they've had like the Abraham Lincoln movie where it's Abraham Lincoln versus the werewolves or whatever, or like
vampire killer, vampire slayer. Yeah.
That's right. And then there was the one that was Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
That was awful.
they've been mixing those together, like that history, and then not necessarily like horror or sci-fi, but just and other things. And it can be fun. I kind of feel like it would be a mixture of, like I was saying, Venture Brothers and then like Drunk History.
Yeah, if it's good. I think that would be that's like the best potential outcome for it. I don't want it to be somebody's like recollection of or retelling of the story, like somebody in the movie retelling the story and they just tell it weird. I just want to present it as this is what it was. That's what I want.
Well, they're trying to sell the thing, so you can't necessarily trust it, but the quotes that it threw up on the movie in the trailer were something about it being very accurate. So
right. There were some pretty good comments on the video too. Something about I was glad to see RoboCop. I was glad to see RoboCop there finally. Historically accurate rendition of the of the events. Yeah.
Who tells this story?
So Yeah, that was just something I seen on YouTube shortly
Mm-hmm.
before the show, and I sent it to you guys, and it took me by surprise because I hadn't heard of it before. In terms of entertainment news, there hasn't been a lot that's really jumped out at me. It's
Mm-hmm.
been kind of a slow week. Uh, so yeah.
So this is what
So
you get. Ha ha.
in terms of like going into what would traditionally be the summer blockbuster summer period, obviously, since because everything was essentially put on pause for almost a year. I don't know. It's going to be a weird summer in that respect.
It's gonna be the summer of Disney Plus, man. Like it's gonna be
Yeah.
Loki will be next, and yeah,
Ooh, that starts next week, right?
I believe
I'm
so. Yeah.
actually, I'm pretty excited for that one actually.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
So Loki.
but at least they're not Warner Brothers now, huh?
Yeah, I mean that's the big news, right? The MGM thing.
The yeah. Wait, what?
The thing we were talking about
Or
earlier,
not.
the
Oh, right.
Warner
Okay.
Brothers, yeah.
Yeah, Warner Media and Discovery. Yeah. I'm gonna have to look into that further.
Mm.
More, just whatever.
More
Everything's gonna be
companies
going.
eating up other companies. Yeah.
Everything's gonna be owned by two companies until Disney buys the other one.
Yeah.
Right.
Conjuring 3, baby. Paul says Conjuring 3, baby. I cannot get into the Conjuring movies. That kind of falls into like there's this. It's weird to have these moderate to not low budget. They're moderate budget horror movie like the Conjuring, the whole franchise thing,
Hmm.
and they do very well, and they put out a bunch of them. I don't care for them, and that's weird to me. That it's a little disappointing to me because I love me some horror movies, but they just feel generally they're a little too like generic.
I think
But maybe I'm being unfair.
I think a lot of times the first ones are pretty good, but the longer they stretch them out, the worse they get. Like what was the one where I can't remember what it's called? Oh, Paranormal Activity. The first Paranormal Activity I thought was really good, but then they have like 6 of them or something like that now, and eventually you're just like, it gets a little ridiculous. I never watched Annabelle or any of those, but
Yeah.
that had that feel to me too. That you're just trying to get money out of it. There's not enough substance there to make a good movie.
And Blumhouse is Blumhouse is gonna Blumhouse. They're gonna keep so long as people keep watching them, they're gonna keep pumping them out. And maybe that's not part of it because I disliked it before I watched Happy Death Day. But I'm like, stop giving them money for that. Give them money for Happy Death Day. Let's
Hmm.
get another one.
Yeah,
But
I'm sold.
But they made, didn't they make either Us or Get Out, or maybe both of them? I don't know.
they produce a lot of stuff. Yeah, no, I mean Blumhouse on their own isn't bad. I appreciate we've talked about them a few times.
Yeah.
I appreciate them because they will do horror.
Hmm.
That's kind of their bread and butter. Not expressly, but that's kind of their main thing. And they do it smart in my opinion. They will pump out crap, but they'll also pump out good stuff. They just take, small to moderate budgets and just like, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go.
Hmm.
Give us a horror movie. Give us a horror movie. And they're able to like off of the Conjuring movies, off of the Get Outs, off of they can pump out a bunch, so long as a couple of them sell gangbusters. Like
Right.
do
Right.
really good, and then that can covers their other kind of crappy ones.
Right.
So they're an interesting company because I don't dislike them. Although if I looked at their whole like lineup of movies, there's probably more I'm not interested in than am interested. But I like that as a business model, and I like that there's a company out there that's just like, I mean, I wish all the horror movies were good, but that have made a go of almost exclusively horror or some type of genre movies
Right.
that actually kind of hit mainstream success.
Yeah. They need for sci-fi stuff, because I don't think there's enough sci-fi ever really.
Right. Well, I was about to say, well, sci-fi usually it requires more of an investment, but that's not necessarily true. Just look at any sci-fi channel production.
Exactly.
uh, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's
Anyway,
the next big blockbuster movie? Is it Black Widow, and does anyone care?
when is that? Is that
July?
happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
it's been done for a long time. They just weren't going to release it until they could release it in theaters.
It's so dumb. And Black that one is the one where I'm like, why would you wait this long? Like the character is already gone. That's ridiculous to wait that long to put that movie out. That should have been back when, they were doing the crappy Thors, But
Right, right. Yeah. For real.
Hey, oh, you know what we can start doing again? I feel like this is only a thing that I like doing, but it's still in our notes. I kept the links. The weekend box office. The box office report.
Oh, wow.
I liked doing that when we were doing the live shows before COVID. Before the theaters essentially died for a little bit. But I was just come across an article. Movie theaters made a comeback over Memorial Day weekend, raking in nearly $100 million. So slowly, they're climbing back up there.
I saw an article that said that Alamo Drafthouse is surviving bankruptcy.
wow.
So
Oh, I didn't even know they were on the block. I mean, I guess that makes sense of like, since they are more niche, they're going to have less resources to like
Hmm.
burn off of during that whole time period. I didn't even think about them.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Hmm.
So, anyway, what the big. Okay. January, February. Let's do a quick run through of these. Let's see, March.
Is it like nothing?
No, there's stuff, but they're not like most of these aren't even necessarily things that hit. I mean, they probably hit theaters, but I feel like theater releases, even though they've been happening, I think technically since at least it seemed like December they started doing it again, right? I feel like we're just now hitting the movie. I mean, even HBO's backpedaled on their whole like day and date release thing where they're still going to release some of the movies they had announced on their streaming service, but they backpedaled hard
Hmm.
already. So, Guy Ritchie had a new movie come out with Jason Statham, of course.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wrath of Man. I didn't even hear about that one.
Suicide
Okay,
Squad.
Oh, I have heard of it.
Spiral already came out. That was one I know people were kind of waiting on. They love speaking of horror franchises that I'm kind of cold on, but that's like the newest. That's the newest Saw movie
Oh.
that was kind of the brainchild of Chris Rock, and he stars in it. Real weird, strange. Apparently he loved those movies. So,
Hmm.
The Woman in the Window is already out. Army of the Dead. Okay, here we go. Cruella, is that one out already? Yeah, that's out. Quiet Place 2. Here we go. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. That must be Conjuring 3. Vivo? I don't know what that is. In the Heights? Okay, I don't know what that is. The Hitman's Bodyguard, which is a Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. Jackson, Selma Hayek thing.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily as high profile as like Black Widow, but that seems like a movie that normally would get a big push.
Yeah.
It's a horrible title though.
I don't know if it would normally be a summer movie, but they need summer movies.
Good point. Good point. Yeah.
Sounds like a summer movie.
Luca, Peter Rabbit 2. Oh, here we go. Is that really what they're calling it?
Oh, F9?
F9? The
I
latest
knew what you were talking about. Just like, is that what they're calling it? Yes.
F9. It's the latest Fast and the Furious go to space, right? That's the one where it was leaked that they're going like there's space in it.
I hope so. That's
So
incredible.
ridiculous. So that's for sure.
John Cena joining The Rock now.
Oh, really?
Is he?
I don't know if
Oh,
The
yep,
Rocket's in
yep.
it, but John Cena is.
Vin Diesel. Melanie,
What?
you might have to get in on this one.
What?
Charlize Theron.
Really?
She's pretty much an action star at this point, so it makes sense she would get sucked into this mess too.
She's not. She's a little bit of an action star. She's not like Mila Jovovich action star, but she's okay.
I'd say she's probably more action star at this point.
I don't know about that. But we
What
don't need
is-
to talk about my girl crushes right now. I don't want to make them feel, like they have to fight against each other. I love them both for different things.
Maybe this isn't new. Maybe he was in more of the other ones, but I do appreciate the F9 Ludacris. Wasn't like the second or third one he was in or something? I don't
He was
remember.
in the first one and the second one, I believe.
He was in the first one?
I'm pretty sure he was like one of the he was just like at the very beginning, like in one of the first
Okay.
street races, and then I don't think he was in the movie the rest of the time. But then he
Yeah.
comes back strong with the second movie.
So it's so crazy. So F9 was supposed to come out a year prior, obviously. Instead, they pushed it back so that it would open this year, June 25th, which was originally they had reserved for Fast and the Furious 10.
No,
Oh,
They just have them like, yep, another
One
year,
year.
another Fast and the Furious.
yeah. I do.
Until
I
they-
do. I think I saw a little bit of like behind the scenes or a making of for. I think it was that one, the recent one, and even all the actors were like, "Yeah, we're just going really ridiculous with this one, like rocket cars or something." Totally. You have to like suspend all disbelief because we're just gonna go all kinds of crazy. So, it's what it is.
Something called Zola. I don't know what that is. July. Oh, there's another Boss Baby movie. Okay.
a Purge movie.
Yeah, dude, you're on the Forever Purge. I have yet to watch. God, which one is this one?
I've never seen any of them.
I was about to say I've yet to watch a single Purge movie. I
Yeah.
kind of like the concept. I did not hear good things about the first one, so I just assume it was not great. Maybe I'll see it someday, and the sequels are probably just exponentially worse and worse. So
I mean, I saw the Purge episode of Rick and Morty, and I think that's all I needed.
Yeah.
It's a Purge Planet Morty.
Hobbs and Shaw, I forgot about that. Paul says he wants another Hobbs and Shaw. I never watched that. So if you include that, they're already at like Fast and Furious 9 or 10, right?
Oh, sure.
So I can't believe they're still making Purge movies. And is this one actually getting like, because some of them I feel like were almost direct to video, but it seems like they're back to theater
I
releases.
think you're right. But
Maybe
I
we
think
just.
a Purge election year was a big one that actually hit the theaters.
I don't think you give direct to video enough credit because that's what made the Olsen twins billionaires. I
Right.
mean, it's
Well-
not that bad.
You know what? And actually, after this last year, including like all the shade I threw at theaters for throwing fits about before we want it before streaming, like I still shouldn't like have that attitude of like, oh, it's direct to video. But that's not
Right.
even the same deal because it's direct to video doesn't, in my mind, doesn't occupy the same space as like go straight to streaming or released on streaming. It's still like indicates a lower budget, lower effort type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And really, now that most people don't use like tapes or DVDs or Blu-rays, I mean, maybe some people do, but I don't think the majority of people do. How do they even do that? How do they survive anymore? Just off like bread boxes and stuff?
what do you mean, like DVDs and stuff?
Stuff that would be straight to video.
Oh, I mean, it's straight to streaming.
Okay.
It's actually cheaper and easier for them now. It still seems different to me. Straight to
Stuff
Amazon.
like Nicolas Cage movies,
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
like the Mandy's.
I
But
just
like
want to.
that one. Sorry.
I'm trying to find. God dang, how many Purge movies there are, and nobody will say. How
I love
How
that
many
this is what we're
Purge?
talking about. A movie
5.
series none of us have seen.
There's 5 of them. I thought there was more.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
still a lot. Wait, there was a series. There was a TV series.
Oh,
Wow.
That's right. That's what I was. Direct-to-video makes the porn industry billions a year. Why would anybody buy physical porn?
because they don't want people to be
internet's
able to
cool.
find it on their computer.
So they can find it in their house?
Nobody's gonna come and look under your mattress, right? Or I don't know where you actually keep it, but you know,
Especially not if it's in a quiet place.
right?
Okay. Moving on. Black Widow. Okay, and then Black Widow. Or I should say, skip all those other movies. Let's go to Black Widow, which is the first movie we mentioned. July 9th. Oh, and that's still gonna premiere with premiere access on Disney Plus. So are they doing, since it's premiere access, are they doing the thing where you still have to pay a premium for that specific?
Yeah, you have to pay for it.
Wah wah.
I hope Scarlett Johansson made a lot of money off of the Marvel movies because she was and is, I guess, maybe still a little bit like in the prime of her acting career, and she could make a lot of money because she made a lot of movies, and I'm sure she'll make more. But having to give that much effort to Marvel when they're gonna make your movie come out after you die, it seems a little messed up. And and she deserves better.
She finally drops.
Well, yeah.
So obvious, but so good.
She finally drops on July 9th, Paul asks. Weird. She kind of got, I don't know. Maybe she had other stuff going on too. I know at some point during all that, she had a child. So maybe that played a factor because that movie, what is it? Skin in the Skin, or I don't know. She did some weird kind of arty sci-fi horror movie where she's naked a lot, and I believe.
Oh, is that the one where she's an alien?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to watch it. I've never seen it. It looks interesting. Came out years ago, but I believe she
Where
did that
Jojo
movie.
Rabbit fall in this whole thing?
I don't know.
I don't know. But she did do some other things during all that, right? Whereas I feel like Robert Downey Jr. What did he do? He didn't. I mean,
No.
He didn't need to do anything else. He got a percentage of the box office, so
he made bank off. Like, what a good deal for him. But I imagine his requirements. He's usually a bigger role. She kind of got, I feel like her as a character and also her as an actress got slighted in that. She should have had at the very latest phase 2 solo movie,
Right.
Yeah.
People were kind of expecting it. And the fact that it's not till now, after her character's been killed off, she gets like, what? Why?
Yeah.
It kind of deflates the hype for this movie, I think.
Yeah.
I think most people are just like, okay, cool.
Right.
But then again, I guess at least she gets a movie. Hawkeye, did he get anything? Is he going to get a TV show at least?
He's getting a show on Disney
Okay,
Plus.
yeah.
Oh,
well, that's
right, okay.
something, But yeah. So.
Yeah, Paul said Robert Downey Jr.'s contract was golden. He got so much on the back end. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Melanie and I fell down a rabbit hole of researching kind of the exact numbers aren't out there, but there's a lot of details about what he probably... So much, including percentages. I mean, he got paid up front a ton for the later movies. The earlier movies less so, but that's, I think, where he was able to secure back end stuff where he gets percentage of a lot of those movies.
Yeah, and a little
you're
percentage.
talking the highest grossing movies in history.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
Woo.
I think minimum 50 million for all of the later ones, at least. A piece, I mean, yeah.
He's like, I love you 3,000. And then I love you exponentially more.
Yep.
There's a new escape room movie coming out. I've heard conflicting things about the first one. I'm a little surprised this one got a sequel.
I did not even know that there was a movie called Escape Room. There's like games that are Escape Room. How do they make that into a movie?
It's
like Panic Room, only in reverse.
Well, I was gonna say you should know, Melanie. They pretty much already made it. It's called Cube.
I love Cube actually, so maybe it's not bad then.
I feel like from what I've seen, it's almost cubey in a way. In the loose concept of like, here's a deadly room. We need to get out to the next deadly room somehow or something.
Yeah.
Space Jam, A New Legacy.
No, didn't LeBron do something shady recently? And it's like, whoa, so much for the Space Jam. I could be wrong.
You know, in this current like world we live in, you can't really go and be famous if you've done anything bad ever, I think, because I mean, and people shouldn't do bad things, I suppose, but well, you know, especially certain things. But I worry. We're not gonna be able to have any heroes in the future. They're all gonna be crap because nobody can be perfect, you know.
Well, yeah, because people are people, right? There was an interesting once in a while. I'll hop on Twitter, apparently just to see what's trending. And I'm always pleasantly surprised when I see Seth Rogen trending, because it's always I'm always a little nervous anytime I see any celebrity that I like on there trending. It's like, what is it? However, the Don Cheadle trending, I feel like I already. It's the best. He was trending because he started trending, and people noticed that, you know, most actors get like actor, entertainer, or entertainment, or if it's a sports thing, sports, basketball, like they have subcategories.
Mm-hmm.
Don Cheadle gets his own category. He was in the Don Cheadle category, and that's just made it trend harder. I don't even know why he started trending, but after, that was why. Anyway, Seth Rogen was trending, so I was like, okay, and it was just because he comes from like comedy world too. I don't know if he was actually a stand-up, but I feel like he gets put in that group.
Mm-hmm.
And he had done some interview where people were asked about like, what does he think about like the comedians and I guess it's because he does comedy like exclusively, but comedians who, you know, complain or are worried about getting canceled, because then that's something we've talked about on the show a couple times over the last few years.
Yeah,
because it comes up once in a while. It kind of came up this episode already. We were talking about like James Gunn and stuff, right?
Right.
So, and comedians, and I get their point where they're like, it's not even like you can't. The main thing is the edgy humor.
Right.
They're like people, like you can't be edgy. Like you have to be so soft with your humor that you can't. It's not even funny. Or you'll get canceled. And then the argument against that is like, well, then, you know, just don't punch down. Like, why does your humor have to be at somebody's expense, which is usually what'll get people canceled. And so when asked about that, and I think, you know, earlier Seth Rogen movies had stuff that people would not be super fond of at this point in time, even. He's just like, I don't understand they need to stop whining about it. Like, I don't understand what the point is. If you said something terrible, don't say, he's like, just, I guess, look back at your past things, recognize what sucked about it or what people are upset about, and move on. Like, what's the point? Why are you complaining? It's like, don't say terrible things. If you don't say terrible things, you don't have to worry about stuff. And he's like, and I've looked back at, you know, some of my jokes, and yeah, some of them, they're not great. They suck, but I recognize that, and it's fine. I'll move forward from it or whatever. So, I don't know. He just has an interesting way of just rolling with it. Just like, yeah, no, it's fine. I'm sure that made some comedians upset. And of course, there were people on Twitter who were saying unkind things about him after that. But for the most part, everybody's like, man, Seth Rogen, he's just the best.
I've actually read up on humor before because of stuff like this, and it's the science just has said that humor is what is it, a benign God, what's the word, benign violation. It's benign violations, so it's got to be something that like violates the norms and stuff, but it has to be not like really threatening, and then that makes it funny. So that's, I think, where it is you have to talk about something and violate the norm, but not something horrible, you know what I mean? And that's when you go too far, is when it's something horrible that's hurtful to people.
Yeah,
Right,
I've also
and, like-
read a little bit about this where it's like a shock. You have to shock the norm, and that can be accomplished in a number of different ways. Like you can just do the absolute absurd, and so we'll laugh at things that are just absolutely absurd. But we also, like, all the things that we laugh about. You also think about like things that make you nervous laugh, like those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, I think, I don't know, not to do the both sides argument, but there are people overly sensitive,
Right. I do. There are.
on some side, on one side, and then there are also people who are just not good at the shock aspect,
Right.
because like edgy humor, and yes, it's not as prevalent, and I miss it a bit. My favorite YouTubers for their edgy humor just aren't really even on YouTube anymore, or don't do it, and I do miss it. But there's definitely a line between like pulling that off and just being a douche, just saying outrageous things to say outrageous things, and it's not really funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Like Dane Cook. When Dane Cook was really popular and funny, it's like he couldn't pull that off now, and that's why you don't hear a lot about him. Like he's just not funny anymore. He was funny for a minute because that's what was funny at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's why I'm not allowed to be live on Facebook, actually. For stuff I posted years ago that they're now slamming me for.
You can't. Yeah, you're getting canceled by Facebook. She can't go live currently from her profile.
Yeah.
Paul says you can punch down without meaning to. That's actually something I kind of worry about, because I know I make jokes to Melanie that I'm sure she doesn't appreciate, but revolving around gender, I'll make certain gender jokes, but
I do too, though. So
I never feel like I'm punching down, because I don't feel like women are below me. You know what I mean? But I get that's not the point. That's not what they mean. They just mean, at the more vulnerable among us. But like, I don't, even that seems weird. And I get that like women get the short end of like every stick, but compared to, a male counterpart. But I don't know, whatever. But I also recognize that there are jokes that I will make with Melanie that I'm not going to make around a stranger or in public, because she knows, I think, where I'm coming from.
It's because I'll make the same jokes. I'll be like, "Why aren't I in the kitchen?" Because it's funny to me. I get it. It's funny. But it's funny because
I'm not even making you a sandwich.
Right. It's funny because it's not me. That's what it is. If I were like the kind of woman that really felt like I needed to be subservient to you or to men in general, it wouldn't be funny. But I'm not that person, so it is funny.
Right. And I'm not. Yeah. And and I'm not the kind of guy that feels you owe it to me to be subservient to me.
Right.
That's weird. Right. So, I
agree.
I get it. Just don't type them, and Facebook will leave you alone. No. Don't post memes.
Yeah.
Ever, of any kind, even if they're not questionable, then
if they're about
Paul's very specifically been in Facebook jail this week.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I
was on the verge of being like, I didn't have any good. I'm not gonna bust out a racist joke, but I wanted to be like, so those one minorities, right, or something, you know. So black people.
I actually really like.
I have no jokes.
I like
I have
white,
nothing.
I like white people jokes. I think they're funny. It's funny to me. It's happened to me a few times in my life. With where I grew up and stuff, where I'm the only white person there, and they make white people jokes, and they're freaking funny. And I am very white. I did not know that it was a thing that white people like mayonnaise, but I love mayonnaise, and so I'm like, it's so true. Sorry.
Okay, real quick. Old is coming up. Blah blah blah. Hotel. Oh, there's another Hotel Transylvania.
This one doesn't even have Adam Sandler in it. I'm like, why are you even doing another movie then?
Snake Eyes is
Right.
July.
What's that?
We talked about that last
You
week.
did?
Yeah.
G.I. Joe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like Dice. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't give it the full title. Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins.
See, then I would have known.
So bad.
It's so bad. The Green Knight is a weird. This is a trailer I watched a little while ago. Melanie's already forgotten it, but
Yes.
it's like, it looks like a weird artsy fantasy movie.
Mhm.
Do you know? Okay,
Yeah.
you're shaking your head. Do you know anything about this thing?
Oh, I was just reading something on it. It's based off of like a poem too.
It looks very interesting to me because I was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
The
I'm
tone of it.
pretty sure I'm watching that.
It felt like an indie fantasy movie, and I'm like, you just don't get that. Those aren't things that typically go together, and so I was intrigued by it.
I think they would if fantasy were cheaper to do, but
Yes.
yeah. Is it Swamp Thing like? Because maybe that's why you like it. Because I don't know, Green Knight kind of sounds that
The
way.
Green Knight. I mean,
It's based off of an Arthurian legend, based on the poem of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight.
Oh.
it was the thing, Melanie, where like this creature or whatever it is comes in and is like, in 1 year I'll be back. You got to fight me, and then leaves. And then the guy's like, okay, and you
Criticized it.
you criticize the logic of the whole premise, and I'm like, I don't know. All we seen was this trailer. I don't know. It looked very interesting to me.
Yeah.
When is that coming? July 30th.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Jungle
excited about that one.
Cruise. What's Jungle Cruise with Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt? That's a pair. Stillwater, Matt Damon, and I'm not interested.
Matt Damon's in a blockbuster one or an artsy one? Because he has like two different sides to him.
Drama.
He's got a type.
Yeah.
It's a thriller about an Oklahoma oil rig worker who travels to France
Yeah.
to unravel a mystery and clear his daughter's name. This sentence just keeps getting weirder and weirder.
So it's like it's one of the like Talented Mr. Ripley type of things, right?
I don't know. He's looking very like, I don't know. Interesting. Okay, well, it's directed and co-written by the guy who did Spotlight in 2015 that won a couple of Oscars. So, okay. Suicide Squad in August, or I'm sorry, The Suicide Squad in August.
Is that why it's different than the last one?
That's the title. Yeah, that's what makes it different. It's so interesting that that's what they're just like. It's not a sequel. It's The Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
It's Too Fast, Too Furious.
Right. Yeah. Free Guy, which is a Ryan Reynolds and Taika Waititi thing.
Oh, really?
That looks really interesting. Have you seen the trailers for that?
Yeah, once forever ago, and I was like, what happened to that movie?
He's basically an NPC that takes over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And besides Ryan Reynolds and Taika Waititi, we're going to be all over that. You know we are.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that I don't think he like directed it or anything.
It doesn't matter. Their names are on it. We're going to see it.
They like to work together, I feel. Maybe.
Really?
It's interesting that, well, because they were both together. They were both in Green the Green Lantern.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
We
right.
recently seen like they were doing maybe it was to promote this. There was like the cast was sitting there being interviewed talking about I'm guessing this, and they were like they had this bit going where oh yeah, they always wanted to work together. This is the first time they'd met. They'd always wanted to work together. And the joke is like they were already in a movie and
Yeah.
they
Right.
didn't remember. Yeah.
I
Anyway.
see. I never saw Green Lantern, so
Me either.
yeah.
Respect. I'm gonna guess that is an Aretha Franklin biopic. It is.
Oh yeah.
Candyman. Finally, August 27th.
All right. Sweet.
I'm curious about that.
Maverick just doesn't exist, Paul. I don't know when that movie's coming out.
Is that like a Top Gun thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Beatles Get Back. Directed by Peter Jackson, starring the Beatles?
Uh-oh. CGI. CGI John Lennon. Here we go.
What? Utilizing never before seen footage behind the scenes, the new documentary chronicles the Beatles as they record their 1970 album Let It Be. Oh, so they just cut together a new documentary?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Interesting.
Cinderella in September? There's a Cinderella? Why?
Because Disney owns everything almost, except Warner Brothers and Discovery.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings in September. That one I'm interested in.
Right.
It's the most, like, not associated with a big super... I mean, arguably Doctor Strange. Most people didn't know who the heck Doctor Strange was.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like most people definitely don't know anything about Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So I'm curious about it.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like we're going to get to see all these like lesser known parts of the MCU
Mm-hmm.
now that like the big Thanos level threat is gone, and then they'll have to build up to another, which will be Kang or something like that. Maybe Doctor Doom. That'd be rad.
Doctor Doom. It's a fun name.
Oh, okay, so this is a trailer that I think was out, but I didn't get the link. I haven't watched it yet, and it was one I get notifications on my phone all the time, but like I don't like send those to my computer, so I don't think to. Anyway, I think there is a trailer out. I had meant to watch it, but didn't get a chance yet. Reminiscence, and this has Hugh Jackman, Rebecca Ferguson, and some other people. Out September 3rd. Hugh Jackman stars in this sci-fi drama set in a flooded near-future Miami about a man who offers people the chance to relive any memory. So, sci-fi. This is the feature debut by Lisa Joy, who previously worked on TV series like Pushing Daisies, Burn Notice, and most recently Westworld, which are all movies or shows people like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But also usually have like interesting concepts. There's a James Wan movie coming out. Malignant. Venom
Oh yeah.
Let There Be Carnage.
Carnage.
in September.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then we're off into October. We got Dune and Morbius. I was wondering. I was like, so are they just going to be like, you know what? Maybe Morbius, what? But you know what? They actually, maybe they need that, though, to set up. Or was that still part of... Maybe they need that to set up Blade, or was that still part of... Oh, no, that's Sony. Sony has the rights to Morbius, don't they?
Yes, because it's part of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man,
But
right.
Blade is Marvel again. I believe that reverted, and then we're talking
Right.
about doing maybe a show.
Really?
They're
With
also
Wesley
hinting
Snipes?
at They're also hinting at some kind of Ghost Rider tie-in with Doctor Strange. I don't know. I'm hearing all sorts of things now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to believe. What's real?
It's so interesting looking through these. I mean, there are a few I haven't heard, but there are so many where it's like, oh yeah, this was we were talking about this
like a
like
year
and a
ago.
half ago.
Yeah.
Because it was supposed to come out a year ago. No Time to Die, the 007, where everybody was outraged because it was announced that there would be a potentially a new uh, 007, and she was a she and black.
Right.
Halloween Kills. That was one that one hurt. I was like, I want to see it. It's done. I want to see it. Halloween Kills. It'd be October. Obviously, we're up into October. So.
Are we okay?
What?
No, nothing.
Last Night in Soho. Edgar Wright.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was just wondering if anybody wanted to know what they needed to be amazed about yet.
Always.
Okay,
Yes.
and it's real short, but it's interesting to me. Scientists measured the mass of the human chromosome for the first time, and they were able to figure out that it was, let's see, I just had it, 242 picograms, or a trillionth of a gram.
No wonder I can't lose weight.
I know, they're so heavy.
Sorry, that's a bad joke. That's a bad joke, and I had it set for like a minute. Okay.
But
Okay,
yeah.
picograms?
And it's heavier than they'd expected. So there's unexplained mass in the chromosomes that they're like, we don't know, we don't understand. So we found something out, and then it made new mysteries, and that's great. That's how science works, and I love it. So see, we are all fat, and we don't know, we're actually not as fat though as we should be.
So so it's not big boned, I'm big
Chromosomed.
That probably doesn't. That's probably not a good thing though either. So
Yeah.
Big somed. You just
Ooh.
abbreviate that. I'm big somed.
I'm big somed.
Sorry.
That was good. I like that. Thank you.
And Paul, I'm not sure if he's asking how you say it. It's PICO, picogram.
Oh.
Like Pico de
Yeah,
Gallo.
Nah, he's like Pika. He is making a Pikachu reference.
Oh, I never did the those things.
Pikachu is so funny because I feel like we're getting old because I'm like Pokemon. Well, I guess that's not the case because you got Pokemon all up in your bloodstream, Jesse. Or that's a weird way to put it.
It's like 25 years old or something like that.
But
they just
to
had
me,
the 25th anniversary.
I never got into it, so I was like, "That's kid stuff. That was before. That's after my time." But at the same time, it's also old now, and kids are probably like, "That's grandpa stuff." I don't know.
It's you had to have the old school Game Boy, and you had to have the legit cable, like connecting two cans with a string. Like that's how games used to work. You have to literally connect your Game Boys like nunchucks just to trade a Pikachu.
Like how phones used to be way back in the day.
Yeah.
That's a good point. They did have to that's what patch the operators with the patch cables. They were literally just connecting your line straight to other people's lines, huh?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry this went so long. As soon as it turned into we were in trouble as soon as it turned into a list episode out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right.
You give me a list, I'm just going to slowly go through it.
Yeah.
Eternals isn't till November. Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's some good movies coming down the pipe, but they're really making us wait for them.
Yeah.
Paul, Maverick, November 19th.
Whoa!
Oh, that was actually that was set for July 2nd this year. Why did that get pushed back to November?
Because the stuff they had coming out in January got pushed to June.
Oh, right. I don't know. That would make me nervous. Like maybe it's gonna suck.
Well, I mean, it's is Tom Cruise gonna be in it? Because
Of course.
well, then it's gonna suck. No, I
It's gonna suck.
Matrix 4 is in December.
Jesus.
I'm so interested to see what that is going to be. No, if they would have pushed it to like January of next year, Maverick, that is, that's when you get worried. Traditionally, January is when they dump the crap. They just dump it out at the end, But I don't even know. Like, I feel like they don't know what is gonna be. It's almost like they've got to relearn the whole.
They didn't even know what to do with the Oscars this year. Like,
right.
It was a weird thing this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Melanie's done her thing. Real quick, before we get out of here, last week I mentioned I was going to be recording an interview with. I was going to be interviewed myself, which might be the first time. Which is, I think it is, on a podcast, on the Twist My Arm podcast. We recorded it. It is out. I don't have a good link for it. Let me see if I can. Anyway,
there will be a link in the show notes. Or
I will definitely have a link in the show notes.
Yes.
But it's yeah, he just shares the transistor. Okay. Anyway, it's Twist My Arm podcast, and the episode title is Randy Grawlix podcast. And I talked to now. Josh is somebody who lives in Colorado now, but he was local, and it's somebody I know. I know in real life. I hadn't talked to him in many years, and we talked a lot about podcasting and various stuff like that. And yeah, check it out. I would have cut more of the episode down if I were him. It kind of starts with a lot of like just personal life stuff that maybe I would be like, I overshared a bit. Okay, I overshared a little bit. You want to find out how much I pay for rent a month? Go listen to that episode. Okay, I overshared a little bit. He asked.
Well, baby, they listen to this show. They know that Randy likes to ramble.
I was in a talkative mood that day because apparently he was aiming for 30 to 45 minutes. That was going to happen.
You don't do that.
It was fun though, and it was cool to be able to talk with him about podcasting stuff. The differences between like now that I've edit for a living, and have dipped my toe in the business podcaster world, like the differences between hobby podcasters and business podcasters, just things that one does or the other does that I think like are interesting and they could learn from each other. And then just whatever else, how much I pay for rent, stuff like that.
So go listen and find out. It's exciting.
Right.
Oh.
And it's uncensored, so just heads up.
Sorry, real quick. Paul, Randy Rambles. We need a new show, baby. Randy Rambles.
Every show.
Yeah.
Randy Rambles, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Or Randy's Rambles.
Yeah.
I could do it. I have things. I kind of want to do a video or something about machine learning.
All right. Well,
I just do. Jesse, what do you got anything interesting to tell people?
I actually do. I have two things. And I'll keep them quick. But on the 5th, so those of you who are listening live, you could, if you're local, you can come and see me at an in-store event.
Ooh.
Like I'm going to be at Krypton Comics on Saturday from noon to 4 or 5 with Axton. So the Tank Zombie, the Tank Zombie reunion tour of one day, the 1 day reunion tour. That's going to be this weekend. So I'm excited about that. Actually going to have some art to sell. So if you're in the area, come and see us in the Omaha area, basically Omaha, Nebraska. And then the other thing is I'm getting really close to 1,000 followers on And you can find me on TikTok at Nerd Sounds.
Mhm.
And as soon as I hit that, I will be making some Nerd Sounds live with my good friend Ben Kruger, who we've had on the show before.
Mhm.
It's so funny, TikTok, man. So I finally installed the app on my phone, and I still haven't really used it much. But lately, I've been like, man, what Jesse's been? He must be busy. I don't ever see him online or nothing. Oh no, I was just not looking in the right spot. I now get notified when Jesse uploads TikToks, and it happens fairly frequently. So I was like, oh, that's where he's been.
Yeah, no, like 2 to 3. I try to get 2 to 3 videos a day, and I kind of blew, not like some people really blow up, but like I kind of blew up because I was like destroying box art for action figures, and like that really triggers people. Like some people are like, yeah, destroy the box. Who needs the box anyways? And then there's other people who are like, you never throw away the box.
Okay, I seen you bury a box in the yard, and
In my
like it had
backyard.
this dramatic music, and I was like, "That's what's that about? That's weird."
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
it
I was
totally
trolling
makes
them at
sense
that
now.
point. Like, what's
Yeah.
the most ridiculous thing I can do to this box art? And I
Yeah.
was like,
Put it in
bury
a
my
hole in the
backyard.
yard. Put yeah, okay.
That's funny.
Where okay, it's what's your username? Nerd
So
Sounds
it's at
dot
Nerd Sounds or at nerdsounds.com, all spelled out. My name is
DOT,
Nerd
yeah.
Sounds, and it's at nerdsounds.com, all words.
Awesome.
Paul says, "Dude, the box berry was fantastic."
I got some great comments on that. Like there was this one person who was like, "No, you always keep the box." And I was like, "Man, you're gonna hate my new video then." And then they went and looked at the new video, and it was just like, "You've traumatized me," and sad face. And I was like, "Oh, your nerd tears are delicious. They're so rejuvenating. My skin glows today."
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, cool. One other thing, because you mentioned people can go see you in person. I am fully vaxxed now.
Yeah.
Woo!
Finally, I'm still masking up because you're supposed to wait like 2 weeks or whatever after you're fully vaxxed, but fully vaxxed.
I think I'm just gonna keep wearing the mask even after I'm done because I like it.
It's so, and your second shot is coming up here soon too, isn't it, Melanie?
No,
The 6th?
I don't remember actually.
It's so interesting. I'll listen to podcasts or watch like videos of people in larger cities in America talking about it. And for a moment the other day I was listening to one, and they're talking about like still a quarantine and still like everybody's masking up, and like they are vaxxed now, so they went without a mask, but they felt like nervous and guilty about it. And it's like, what? Oh yeah, some parts of the country actually handled this seriously, on like Nebraska, because at no point did we ever feel, other than when the businesses and stuff were closed, did we ever feel like there was a quarantine. Really,
I think
at least here.
I was gonna say, you live in a small town though. In small towns in Nebraska, yeah, I don't think they ever did anything. In Omaha, it's a little bit different.
Well, even in Omaha though, well, no, they had the mandate, so you had to for a while. But
right.
also, like, wearing a mask gets you sideways glances here, which annoys me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird to hear like, oh yeah, it's still a serious issue that's going on, and people are taking it seriously in the world, because it hasn't felt like that way here in months and months and months.
It's weird to me to hear about all these schools that were not in session for as long as they were, like all these schools that were just closed.
Yeah.
And we were in session all year, and it was hard.
Right.
Really? All year?
All year. Yeah.
Oh, we were closed for a while, but
We didn't even shut down. Like there was talk that we would maybe have an extended Thanksgiving or whatever. Nope, never happened. We were open. We had we had some Fridays off so that we could get more virtual learning stuff going. But other than that, aside from a few extra days,
yeah,
we really didn't shut down.
That's crazy to me. Yeah, we had, even after they let kids in school, entire schools closed down because so many people got COVID that they didn't have anybody to work there anymore.
When we had a sub shortage before all this happened, so
Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a little bit of inside baseball for everybody here. The teaching. This is the teaching segment. The education.
I did forget my mask when I was at the drive-in, which most of the time it's fine. I like
Was say
people
outdoors. They were already
Right.
saying you didn't have to.
and the people I were around, like it's fine. But when I went and got concessions, the concession workers, of course, all had masks, and then I was walking out, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I really should still have had mine on." I didn't grab it. I just didn't think about it. But I don't mind wearing the mask, but I think I am slightly excited to not have to remember
Yeah.
the mask, because that moment of panic of like, "Oh crap, I don't have my mask." Like, I'm glad to not have that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here in
But-
town, most of the businesses now, it's like if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear the mask. And so like it's a little weird because I got into such a habit of like, I didn't grab my mask. I could go back to the
Right.
car and get a mask.
Yeah.
It was just a thing I carried in my car. It was like a box full of masks. There was the ones that I would wear every day that really felt good, and then the paper ones that I just had in my car in case I forgot.
Right. Like I have my good mask, which I think I might have left in your van, Melanie. It came from you to begin with, but
Yeah.
in the good one, it was black. I had a black mask, which
Yeah.
I liked. And then in the car, I had like the surgical masks that I didn't have them most of the time because a lot of people didn't have them for a big chunk of the year, but that I got when I go to the doctor's office. They, even if you have a mask, they're like, okay, here, put this one on.
Yeah.
And so then I wear it out, and I'm like, okay, I'll put this one time. I'm gonna wear it again. It's
Right.
not improper,
Especially if you wore it for like 10 minutes.
right? It was a doctor's checkup, right? And I have like at least 2 of those in the car at all times. So those are my backup if I forget my good one that I like. But the problem is like I think it's more noticeable to people when you have like a surgical mask on.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was to say, if we don't have to wear masks next year for school, it'll be a little weird because the one thing I did get used to is not having to have my beard brushed out. Like I could wake up and my beard could be going here, and it was like, who cares? Putting a mask over it anyways.
Right.
that's how I live every day. Well, I did try to do something with it today, but
It was
It's
at
Thursday.
the end, one of the kids saw me drinking water out of a water bottle, and they're like, "You have a beard." I was like, "I've had this beard all year. I have had a beard since you were in kindergarten. I have not shaved this beard."
Mhm.
What do you mean? You have a beard? Of course I do.
I think it was interesting reading some accounts of people talking about like the movies and TV shows and stuff that shot during it when they had all the regulations. The idea of like there's a lot of people that work together that didn't ever know what the other people look like, because like if they're there on set or whatever, and it's behind the scenes people, obviously they got to have the mask on all the time. And it's just interesting that they're like, not till, either there's people I work with every day who I just never saw their face, or not till like later on they randomly seen them, and it's like, oh, yeah, you look like that. I didn't know you look like that. So I don't know. I guess it's the same as like working with my clients, right? Like there's a lot of them I work, talk to frequently or whatever. I don't know what like any of them really look like. Some of them I do, but I guess it's the same difference. But
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, we hit 2 hours.
Yeah, wow.
Literally on an episode where we had no topic.
We can do it.
I really thought, I was like, 1 hour. Tonight we'll do it. 1 hour.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Why? You know what? It's not just me.
No, you're right. It's not just
We
you.
all do it. We do it.
I feel bad. I always feel bad like it's my fault.
Well, I feel bad because I don't be mean. Like I want to be inside sometimes, but I don't want to annoy everybody by being like, okay, come on, let's go. So
Next week,
yeah.
I had forgot to do it because I was in a rush today. I'm going to be in a rush next week, but maybe you guys can remind me. We're going to set an alarm, an actual alarm that's going to go off during recording. Or
Gonna be
whatever.
the TARDIS klaxon.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it should be. Okay.
Mhm.
Boom.
And that's gonna go off at like 55 minutes into the show, and then it's like, that's Melanie. That's your cue to do what are we amazed by. If me and Jesse have things to pimp, we'll pimp it real quick, and then we'll bounce out.
Sounds awesome. Let's do it.
Cloisters.
Yep.
The cloisters.
Next week, we're gonna totally forget to do that. All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you want to check out more, grawlixpodcast.com is GRAWLIX podcast.com. I guess that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Adios.